Welcome back. On the radio show that I do this week, one of my guests was a real-life cyborg. He hailed from Cork, and he has implanted technology in both of his hands. And this technology allows him to lead what we call an augmented life. As it happens, the show was April Fool's Day, so lots of people listening all wrote in and said, you can't fool us, it's not true, and that it was an elaborate prank, but it wasn't. It's very real, so much so that we brought the man in the flesh, in real life. So would you welcome, please, Denis Canty. Welcome, Denis. OK. Thank you. Let's establish the truth here. You have in your hand implanted what?
In both hands, Ryan, I have an implanted microchip. It's about the size of average size of a grain of rice, and It's just implanted under the skin.
OK. And for purely practical, you know when you go to work and you have to go through and you do the tag on the door to get in, and then you might put the card on the photocopier to photocopy. You don't have to do that anymore. No. Roll the tape and we'll see. This is Denis going into work. That's his hand.
Yeah,
that
so
opens the door.
Going to the building in Cork and the Kessin in through the front door. I scan my hand, all the internal buildings.
Opens all the doors.
Sorry, all the internal doors.
Photocopier, how's your hand?
Yeah.
Great.
Printer, print off the documents.
And that's it. So why did you do it?
I guess, Ryan, and I think the audience will attest to this, the last 20 years we've seen technology go from being really far away, and now it's getting closer and closer. It's going to homes, it's going to our pockets, it's going on our wrists. And a lot of the global trends, I've been working in technology for 15 years, and I've seen that it's getting closer and closer, and you can see it's becoming into the body. And my whole thing here is to avoid waiting 10 years. This is 10 years away from being mainstream. I'm going on a kind of a global journey now to actually discover and learn the good and the bad of the technology before we do it.
Okay, so in advance, like getting ahead of the pack, so to speak. Why do we need it? How are we going to benefit from it?
So one of the biggest benefits that people will probably think about would be medical and the whole healthcare domain. Yep. For example, a good friend of mine in Germany has quite severe Parkinson's and suffers from tremors. Lives alone on his own and uses a key to actually enter his apartment. It got so bad one day that he couldn't get the key into the door, and he collapsed, went to the hospital after 3 hours. And later he got the implant done, and he can scan regardless of the tremor, and his comfort of life has been significantly increased.
I would imagine so. Yeah. Tell me about the phone. You're going to give us a sense of the power of the embedded chip.
Yeah, well, I suppose, Ryan, the technology is advanced to a certain extent. So you can actually program the implants from a standard mobile phone with a mobile app. So I can unlock my phone, and then I can also...
Hey, Ryan, I have got to hand it to you. It is a great show. Did you see what I did there? Hand. Ha, ha, ha.
It's like the comic chip.
Yeah, so I suppose that's kind of cool from an audience perspective, but it's nice actually because you can program things really easily. But normally I actually store healthcare information on it. So
yes. So in that example, if you were in an accident of some description, you weren't in a position to communicate to the medicals, the paramedics, whoever, what could they do knowing that you had a chip in your hand?
So essentially they could use any standard phone and scan my hand, and it would give them my blood type, my next of kin, any allergies, and in the future now we're actually going into medical platforms for extended healthcare information.
It could save lives in that
sense. The statistic is that if, let's say, if a person had one going into a hospital, a lot of times trying to get the actual medical information is sometimes quite difficult. It delays it a couple of minutes.
But this is instant.
And you can see
can we see it in your hand? If we get a close-up of your hand, Dennis, you can see this.
It's just inside there.
It's about the size of a...
Yeah, it's that size.
Like a grain of rice or something like that?
Yeah, size of a grain of rice, and the same in the other hand.
And it gets into your hand how?
It's quite easy. It's just a pinch of skin. A tattoo artist could do it. Chip is in the needle, and it's in.
And this is the future?
We're getting there. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I'm kind of on a journey now, so I'm involved in a global study. A guy in Latvia and a lady in the US, and we're the 60,000 people with implants globally, Ryan.
And in Ireland?
I was the first one.
So
I think there's 4 more since. Okay. It was at the IT Cork Tech Summit last year, and I got implanted on stage, and actually 4 more people got it done at that point as well.
Interesting. Well, I think when we see you in a few years' time, we're all doing it, going to offices like that. And we'll be laughing back at how naive and innocent we were. Dennis, good to see you again. Thanks for coming in. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen.